Good morning, everyone. This is Dan, and welcome to my channel, Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. I greatly appreciate them. This is the weekly forecast. It is the Sunday reading that is for March 12th through the 18th, Saturday the 18th. So this is like the underpinning and like theme of the week, of the energy. Each of these cards is going to represent for a day or two during the week. You might experience only one of these cards. You might experience all of these cards and then some. It's kind of like take what you need and leave the rest. If this reading doesn't fit or doesn't make sense to what's going on in your life, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. Nothing's broken. You might just be working on something different at this time. And if you're seeing this video on a date that's not the 12th through the 18th, don't worry about that. Readings can be timeless, and I believe they find us when we need them. So if there's a message in here that makes sense to you whenever you're watching it, by all means utilize it to the highest of your ability. One thing for new viewers, please check out in the drop-down menu underneath any of my daily or weekly videos. In there's just some information about the channel, like general housekeeping rules, things I want you to think about when utilizing the channel, what decks I'm currently using in the video, how to follow me on social media. I have an Instagram account. It's a mixture of, tarot stuff and some personal stuff, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of who I am. And I also have a Facebook business page. So if you want to book a reading, a personal reading, you would want to contact me at either the Facebook business page by sending a message there or by messaging my Instagram. Know that I will never reach out to you to offer you a reading. So please keep that in mind. The other thing in the drop-down menu is there's really simple ways you can support the channel. One of those is hitting the thumbs up button if you like my content, subscribing to the channel if you feel so inclined, sharing the video out with your friends, letting them know, that I'm here, and leaving me a question or comment on the video. I really appreciate that. I read them all. Some of them have been kind of fantastic lately. Like, they give me a lot of validation and they remind me why I do this every day, So let's see what the cards want us to know. Did I do my whole spiel? I feel like I'm missing something. Anyways, those of you that watch regularly, you guys know the spiel. I only do this basically for the noobs. Anybody that's new to the channel or just found my video. I gave the dogs a bath today. I'm actually filming this rather late in the day, so I'm a little bit tired. We were out in the sun. It was such a beautiful day. And I had to bathe all 4 dogs with the garden hose, and that was like, it was a circus, but we had fun. It cooled them down, but nobody wanted to. It was hilarious. They didn't want to get wet down at first, and then when I was soaking them up, they all dug that part because it was kind of like, the massage part, but then they didn't want to get rinsed. So I had to kind of chase them around the yard and get, them all cleaned up. But they're all cleaned up and smelling good, and, that makes me happy, and they're happy too. Alright, so let's see what these cards want us to know. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to do the clarifier deck too. Anybody, if you want to leave me a comment, let me know how that Virgo full moon last Tuesday on the 7th, how did you fare through that? I had some really weird, interesting experiences, so I'm interested to see how others may or may not have been affected by it. Alright, so let's see, the beginning of the week card is the 9 of Emotions. So this is the 9 of Cups. This is oftentimes somebody that's pretty emotionally sound, complete, whole. There's almost a smugness to him in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, but he's done the work, right? 9s are about personal completions. We saw a lot of cards in last week's readings that felt like a little bit of, I believe the 7 of Cups showed up. There was a little bit of emotional stuff going on that last week. I feel like going into this week, we feel emotionally sound, self-sufficient, in control. I love that this woman is like sort of meditating in the middle of all of this. Like, in other words, we're holding space for ourselves however we need to do so. Um, and we're not, making excuses for it. We're not, needing to force anybody to do anything that we don't need them to do, if that makes sense. We can kind of supply it to ourselves, especially emotionally, for our own well-being. I get a really nice sense from this card that we should be, even though I don't associate cups with grounding, this feels very grounded to me, in the sense like she knows who she is, she knows how she feels, she's not denying it, she's not hiding it, she's owning it, and she doesn't have to prove anything to anyone, right? And so I feel like we're kicking off the week feeling rather, there could be even an air of confidence with this, an air of, having all of our ducks lined up in a row, in a way, is my feeling, and feeling accomplished, ready to attack the week in a good way, and get some things maybe off the ground or moving forward that we maybe haven't been able to previously due to maybe mixed signals, weird conversations or situations. This feels like we're taking matters into our own hands or into our own feelings and getting clear on what it is that we want and how we're going to go about getting it. Now let's look at the midweek card. I love it. 8 of Materials. This is the going and getting of it. We saw this card, I can't remember, it was last week or the week before. This deck is absolutely beautiful. But this is the 8 of Pentacles, essentially. The 8 of Pentacles, excuse me, I need a drink. The 8 of Pentacles is about our own special skill set, what we bring to the table. It's often, it's depicted in traditional Rider-Waite, a man at a workbench working on, 7 pentacles, or the last 8th pentacle of 7. Like, there's a heavy workload there, but he's intent and focused in the work that he's doing. With this 9 of Cups at the beginning of the week, and then the midweek being the 8 of Pentacles, Cups and Pentacles are quite complementary to each other. So it's like, my feeling is, we feel it at the beginning of the week of how we want it or what we want, and we feel like it's possible. That's the 9 of Cups. We feel like we have everything we need within ourselves, within our emotional body, our feelings, our desires, whatever that may be, to actually set forward into this 8 of Pentacles by taking action, and productive action. Action that, I always think of like the 8 of Pentacles as kind of like the artisan card. It's like we bring that, because of our personal experiences, our individual way of processing, thinking, feeling, whatever it may be, we bring that special like touch to it that allows us to create in the only way that we know how. Does that make sense? And so I feel with this 9 of Cups, the clarity that comes with that sets us off by midweek to be able to really start to focus in on the details of whatever it is we want to create, whatever it is we want to like bring into bloom. All of these flowers around her, like she's got these like arms of Kali, but she has all of these different flowers around her that she's blossoming, that she's growing into more beauty in her life or more abundance in her life. And so that is the opportunity in the midweek, is to start to actually put practical action and work into whatever the feelings are or the desires were that we were having in the beginning part of the week. I hope that makes sense. So, and then the end of the week card, oh wow, is the 8 of Emotions. This is the most prettiest 8 of Cups card I've ever seen. So 8 of Cups is about walking away from a situation that is no longer working for us. Oftentimes it can be like a relationship, it could be a job for some of you, it could be any type of relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but it can be a friendship. To me, this feels like, With that Nine of Cups at the beginning of the week, and then the work that we're doing through the Eight of Pentacles in the midweek, this Eight of Cups doesn't feel as forlorn or sad as it normally would. It feels like we are heading in our own direction because it's right for us. We know it, we feel it. Others may disagree with it or not sign on to it, but I don't think that that matters to us, is my feeling. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I feel like that sort of meditative state that the woman in the Nine of Cups card is in, she doesn't have to prove who she is or how she feels to anyone. And anybody who's like not on the same page with us doesn't necessarily mean they're bad or wrong. It just means that they're not on our same page and we may need to move in a different direction. Oftentimes I think of this card too as like having to take the higher road in a situation by being the bigger person and not like sinking to a lower level to argue, debate, fight our point. It's not, to me, it's not worth it, is the feeling I'm getting. I feel like with the two previous cards, this week is going to be so like emotionally sound and potentially like 3D creative or abundant, that whatever it is we are walking away from, removing, or not giving our attention to anymore. That's actually a really good phrase with this. It's like we're no longer putting our attentions in places that it's wasted, let's say. I mean, that's kind of I guess sort of a strong version, but that big black hole in the center here, it's what, maybe it's an eclipse sun, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but to me it feels like we're going into the void. This is similar to like the Fool card that we had in the midweek of last reading, in last week's reading. This is us, it's not as like major as the Fool, but this is us really making a solid decision and taking practical action towards moving away from things that don't serve us towards things that do. And it may feel kind of lonely. I'm going to say that. The reason why I say that is there's a singular woman on each of these three cards. You don't see like interactions with anyone, and this Eight of Cups even more so feels rather remote. But I think that in that remoteness, we're also able to maintain and stay clear in whatever it is we know we need emotionally, and what steps we need to take physically to bring about the new changes and the new opportunities that we want to see in our lives. And I think that that actually makes for some excitement rather than, say, the normal forlorn feeling that you would get with an Eight of Cups. This really feels like, to me, we are listening to ourselves and how we feel and measuring all of that still, because the Eight of Pentacles is in there. We're not just like lashing out, or it's not about that, like jumping to conclusions or being dramatic. This is about, no, this doesn't feel right anymore. I'm going to go in this direction because this feels right and this is what I want. It feels like there's quite a bit of clarity with these cards this week, and I think clarity was last week's grounding stone. So maybe in grounding and that clarity, that's why these cards have come about. For some of you, it may be hard to walk away or to move in a different direction, but you're gonna do it anyways, is my feeling. It could be someone walking away from us, but in that case, we have to remember that sometimes people, situations, loved ones, they cycle out of our lives for a reason. They cycle out of our lives because they're no longer in alignment with where we're heading or where we're going. They cycle out of our lives because they're not able to meet us at the same level that we may be at. Not that that's a requirement, but if they're if they're sort of standing in our way or holding us back, these cards are like kind of making it inevitable for us to have to make the decision to either let go or to move forward. And when I say that, I mean like whether it's somebody departing from us, a situation leaving us, or us leaving the situation or the person, we are okay with it, is my feeling. There's actually like this deep, profound clarity, I feel like, in these cards this week. And these are all, excuse me, these are all, there's no court cards and no major arcana in these right now. I mean, we'll wait and see the clarifiers on these, but to me, even though there isn't, this feels like there's a clarity here for us this week and a decision-making sort of stance we're taking this week that feels as powerful as if it were major arcana cards. Does that make sense? And I feel like it's the combination of the 9 and the 2 8s. They're just like, nope, this is what I need. This is how we're going to do it. So let's look at the Miracles Now card. Excuse me. Oh my God. In the midst of a meltdown, I breathe through the discomfort and come out the other side. Okay. Interesting. Because she's definitely breathing and meditating. She's even like underwater, right? But I don't get this sense of this meltdown. If there's any meltdown energy, it's this dissolution of a scenario or situation, relationship through this 8 of Cups. But again, I'm going to go back to this place of we are very clear on this is no longer for us, in alignment to us. It's not going to push us forward towards our goal, our path, our desired outcome. So we can choose to have a meltdown, but I don't think we're going to. I think this card says, in the midst of a meltdown, I breathe through the discomfort and come out on the other side. And that's exactly what that 8 of Cups is doing. We are making the most out of a situation that's no longer working. And we know it. We can feel it. Like, very much feel it with both the 8 and the 9 of Cups up there. Let's look at the clarifiers really quick. We have the 3 of Pentacles. So that's like collaboration, calling in, with the 8 of Materials there, the 8 of Pentacles, like we have a certain skill or a certain je ne sais quoi, an ability to create and build. We may need assistance from others. This could be new others, though, not necessarily the others that we would potentially be walking away from or shifting gears with, but there could be, friends, family members that we're using as sounding boards or for advice, but that advice or that collaboration should produce successful outcomes. It almost could be giving us a little bit of stability in as we're making this decision. I also want to say this, I always say this, 3s to me always bring me to the place of the mind, body, spirit, being in alignment, and this being the 3 of Pentacles also speaks to that sort of truth that I feel like we are aware of this week, that we can no longer deny, that we have to kind of move forward on. So if we're not getting any outside influence or help, collaboration, then this collaboration is coming from within our 3 major, bodies, the spiritual, physical, and emotional / mental body. All right, let's see the other clarifier, Knight of Wands and the Lovers. Interesting. Knight of Wands is associated with Sagittarian energy. It can be any of the fire signs, though, Aries, Leo, or Sag. It doesn't have to be a fire sign person, but it can indicate somebody of the fire sign, of the fire signs, Jesus. But I feel like this is about, if this is not an outside party coming in to collaborate with us through that 3 of Pentacles, right? And this person will come in hot because the Knight of Wands is going to come in fast. Sometimes the worry with the Knight of Wands is, does he have the staying power to stick it through and see it through to the end? I think with the 3 of Pentacles there, he does, but there needs to be like a conversation of equal give and take. And I like that I also get that because the Lovers is there too, because there's a balance in the Lovers card, that I feel like that's where that in the Three of Pentacles, that's where that like communication. This does feel like, I'm gonna be honest, this does feel like for some of you this is a reconfiguration of your relationships. Something that you may need as the viewer, you have figured out emotionally, and you are willing to set forth in making happen. And if it doesn't seem to change or work, instead of having this sort of meltdown, you breathe your way through it and find yourself through on the other side, and you're still okay. The Lovers is the only major arcana card here. It is oftentimes, it represents a choice, but I feel like it also can be a form of collaboration too over something that we love. The Three of Pentacles would indicate also that there is support around us if we are making big decisions and choices about making changes in our life this week that are leading us closer to where we are more in alignment, more passionate about something, more connected to something, where the vibration to me is just higher. Even that Knight of Wands can indicate as us going towards our desired goal. Like, so I hope I'm making sense, but like with the Eight of Cups, I don't get that forlorn feeling, and that's sort of also the Knight of Wands feeling here, is because the Knight of Wands is like, I'm gonna go in there and get that. I want this. This is the thing that I want. I'm gonna talk to my friends and figure out who can help me to get there, right? If this is a relationship for you, I do think that there is some honest communication coming up this week. Heartfelt communication. I'm going to say that with that Nine of Cups kicking off the week, and the Eight of Cups too, that if it's not acknowledged, if it's not fully supported, if it's not shared, then we move on, or we move forward towards what our truth is. We make the decision or the choice, and we do it from a place of love, not from anger or bitterness or envy or blame or any of that. This is about remaining clear and true to ourselves this week. Let's go to the grounding stone. Oh, interesting. So the grounding stone for the week is focus. And focus doesn't want us to focus instead of that. So keeping our focus is going to be important, obviously. The Nine of Cups is about keeping our emotional focus on ourselves and our own well-being. The Eight of Pentacles is about keeping our focus on the job that's at hand right in front of us and taking the next right steps or doing the next right things towards making whatever our dreams or our needs in the 3D world, in the physical world, happen for ourselves. Sometimes Pentacles energy can be a little bit slow, but I don't get that this is so slow because that Knight of Wands is in there too. The focus also comes in the Eight of Cups too, right? Like if something's not working for us or it's no longer in alignment with us, we need to stay focused on coming out on the other side. Don't get caught up in the Eight and Nine of Cups are both emotions cards, but I don't feel like we're getting caught up in the emotions. We're keeping and maintaining our focus this week to move towards better, I feel like better relationships. For a lot of you, that's what this is about. It feels like I know the Lovers is the Lovers and all of that, but I do feel like there's a reconfiguration where we're being more honest about how we feel and what we need within our relationships, and we're maintaining that focus. And as we ground in that and we do that, we are able to come through to breathe, come through on the other side, and hopefully most of you are going to get what it is you desire. That's kind of the Three of Pentacles and the Lovers influence there. But for those of you that don't in the particular situation you may be in, that's okay. You're keep maintaining this focus, keeping true to yourself. It's going to put you on the path towards something that is in more alignment for you, or in better alignment for you, and what you do deserve and need. I hope that makes sense, you guys. You'll have to let me know. Thank you all for tuning in, and Please like this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I do put up daily content. Follow me on Instagram, like my Facebook business page, message me there if you want a private reading. Tune in tomorrow because as the cards progress, we'll see how this all continues, the layers of energy come out and what is actually going on. And maintain your focus, all right? Take care. Bye-bye.